I'm glad everyone liked the video last time, so today I'll be doing more point of view video with a head cam, so hopefully that will be even better than a chest cam. This Volvo 940 I've got in the shop will be lifted with my Volvo 940 lift kit. The front bumper will be trimmed a bit, some pieces will be removed, and I'll take you with me in the process. Small stock tires. These here are the Toyo Open Countries. These are 235/75 15s, super beefy, and why I choose these always over the Yokohama Geolanders are because, in my opinion, these have a way cooler side thread pattern. First I'm starting on the rear. For the rear, on a 940 we have the spacer blocks for the springs, and on the front we have sway bar spacers, strut mount spacers which will be welded in between the struts, and we got the polyurethane drop-in spacers for the strut. These will be dropped in the strut and then the shock will sit on top of this one. And in case you're wondering what this here is a 1UZ VVTi engine with an A650 gearbox automatic transmission. Picked this up over the weekend. 90% chance that this will go into my Volvo 245. These are the spacers that will go on top with a nice layer of zinc coat. They'll sit like this on top here. And it's pretty easy. Just get this long M10 bolt. Spacer goes on top. And then you can tighten it down, which will make this look so freaking good. Next up is the panhard. This is an original panhard. I'll be replacing it for my adjustable panhards. Last video I got an IPD one and now my own, so I'll show you exactly what the difference is and why I prefer my design. The neat thing about this panhard design is that once it's installed, you can rotate this thing here, and what it does, it's a left-hand thread and a right-hand thread. So when I'm turning it this way, on both sides the thread is getting shorter. Rotating it like this, on both sides it's getting longer. These are the polyurethane bushings, super pros. Always make sure to lube up the area which will be installed into the tubing. And there's quite a lot of grease in here. I never use all of it. I don't like the grease squirting out everywhere. Just have a nice layer in there to make sure it doesn't make any weird noises. Perfect. When installing this, keep in mind one side seems to be off, and it is off, but it will be flat. So now it's at an angle and now it's flat against this. So there is a right and wrong rotation for this. These dust covers are always so freaking rusted and flimsy. Thankfully on this car I'll be installing new covers, new shocks. These discs also look really worn. They have quite the edge on them, so I'll be also replacing the disc, and the pads are pretty new. So I think someone installed new pads and left the brake discs on there, but those are really bad. And on the other side the wheel bearing isn't that nice anymore, so I'll be replacing that. Thankfully this one was good. And these bolts here are always a size 13, 12 and sometimes even 11. It's really strange. And if you're not as lucky as I am today, you round them off and you can use the welder to get them out. That happens so often. In the meantime, I already know how to do it to make sure that the chances of success are pretty high, but it's no guarantee. These parts will be reused. And if you're wondering why I have loads of these struts lying around, because I used to sell these kits completely welded up, but nowadays it's pretty hard to find nice looking struts. And the thing was, they were always dirty, some were bent, the plates were rusted, the bolts were rusted. It was just so much work. So that's the reason why you can only buy the spacer kits and you can weld them yourself. Or if you want me to weld it, just drop your car off or send me a message and send me a set of struts and then I'll weld them for you. The same goes for the for the coilover kits. Clamp it down and make sure it's tight as hell. Otherwise it will twist. Get my big friend over here. And then they come undone. Normally it's a bit harder. This one was pretty easy. Then next step, clean it up so that you can mark a straight line. That way you know what the alignment between this section and this section was. Don't forget that part. However, if you forget it, just make sure that you draw an imaginary line between here and that, as you can see, is centered with this part here. If you're wondering why I'm not using any coolant on this bandsaw, I used to do it, I especially bought it for it, but since I only do thin wall tubing, this is the biggest that I do. The amount of cleanup time that it took, so cleaning everything up, was way longer than what it's worth that the blades will be sharp a lot longer. Perfect. Now, more cleaning. This is just to get the dirt off, and then I'm going to use the belt sander, make like 1 centimeter clean, and make a small bevel on there, and that way we can get full penetration on the welds. These also have a small bevel on there, and with thicker material it's pretty difficult to get 100% penetration when these are flat against each other and there's, I believe these are 3.5 mil or 4 mil thickness. You're not able to get full penetration, and when you are adding a nice bevel to it, they can see it's really easy to fill it up nicely and the penetration will be a lot better. When welding this, as you can see, it's galvanized. Always make sure that you get fume extraction or wear a respirator. New parts came in, brand spanking new dust covers, they make it look so much better. Sway bar links, 1 new wheel bearing, new brake discs for the front, and Bilstein B4 shocks. Let's get these on there. Then I'll be doing the camber mod. On this strut tube I've already added 1 spacer. This is to make up for the added length in here, and it goes on the bottom into here. Doing this modification is pretty easy. You want to tap out the front studs. As you can see, I've already done this side. So tap the one out in the front, and then like that. Make sure you know where it is. Put it in the car. And normally it's sitting like this, and what you want to do is push it all the way to the back. So that one, and that way you are increasing the line instead of like this. It goes a bit more further to this, so negative camber. Then get something to mark it. Yeah, it's all the way to the back. And remember, this is a cheap mod. Of course, you can get fancy camber plates, I also sell them, but this is a lot less expensive and easy to do. Install these studs. Use 2 washers, or 3, or however you want. You can do that all the way till it's seated nicely, and now it's pressed in there. It doesn't matter how often you do this, I absolutely hate springs being under high tension like this. It's not something you want to have flying around in the shop. Or in the shop isn't that bad. This thing flying in your face, that's what will get you. It's starting to look so good. Sometimes when you haven't done things in a while, you just forget how good they look or how fun they are to drive. Just like boosted Miatas. When you haven't driven them for a few weeks and you get one or boost one yourself, I'm like, whoa, these things, they are so much more fun with 250 horsepower. I think it will be enough, but there's only one way to find out. Lower it, wiggle the steering wheel, and then we should be able to see it. And also adjust the panhard to the right length. The front is so insanely high with the wheels not lowered. Yeah, I would say this is more than enough trimming. So here there's 4 centimeters, and over here a lot less. Oh man, this thing needs a boost controller. I wouldn't say it's slow, but it definitely is not fast. Now we're doing 80 kilometers an hour. Let's keep doing 80 over this speed bump. I'm noticing that the rear is really stiff and it's not as bouncy as it normally is and like I want it to be. So I think I'm going to swap out the rear springs, the upgraded springs, and reinstall the original ones. All right, let's take this car for test ride number 2. Now, moment of truth, 2 speed bumps. If the rear's all over the place, then we'll know it's not okay. Perfect. We can hear the rear rubbing a bit. That's normal. You can change it a bit by hammering the bottom end of the wheel arch, which I'll probably be doing, but this here is so much better. This here is why a lifted Volvo is so much fun. With the big tires, most of the bumps are just absorbed by the tire, and if they're bigger bumps, you can easily go over them. So this definitely makes your Volvo like 10 times more fun than stock. And people will look at you like, what are you doing? And if you're wondering why I'm driving like a maniac, I just want to test out the Volvo in certain conditions that I know for like 99% sure that the customer will also do. That way I can test them in these conditions and I know the car will handle like it's supposed to, and not have the customer ask me why it's doing a certain thing. This here is the spot where I always take pictures. When you want to take pictures, of course, don't forget to bring your phone. But hey, this thing looks so good. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. I absolutely love it. And the tires suited really good. I'm pleased with the looks, pleased how it handles, so I think I can call the customer, say it's ready, and let me know in the comments what you think of this Volvo and what car you would lift. I think the Volvo 240s and 940s are really cool to lift, especially when you get an LSD, so you actually have 2 driven wheels instead of 1 when you're in the mud. But it makes the car so much more fun to drive. Last video I got so much positive feedback on the chest mount. I got myself a head strap, so I'm glad a lot of you like this video format. That way I can still make some videos and you guys can enjoy watching me just wrenching on cars, fabricating stuff. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.